This. So, in the very first online session, we discussed about how to turn isolation into an inspiration to know, to discover the peace within. In the very first virtual session, see the good things and the pleasant thing. The thing for which we are obsessed also takes place in isolation, and the good things also takes place in isolation. Did you get it, Lara? One example: sexual pleasure, isolation; meditation, isolation. So, in that virtual session, there is a big point: whether the mind is moving in a right direction. You can defy the isolation in the mind that leads to anxiety and the stress. In the second session, we worked on working on the mind for happiness. That is a big topic in the entire journey of Eastern wisdom. We have to recognize if the mind is working on me or I am working on the mind. You are working on the car or car is working on you. So it takes time. We have to understand the concept and the principles. We have to continue the practice. It is not one day affair. I have always been saying the seed does not become a tree overnight. What it means? The knowledge is not realized in a single day, in one session. So we have to work on the mind at each and every step. Then only we can start working on the mind and discover inner peace and happiness. In the third session, we worked on how to discover inner peace and happiness. In the fourth session, why to work on the mind? Because the mind is impure. How come the mind is impure? Anxiety, instant reaction, disliking, hatred. The mind is constantly moving in these alternatives. No, no, I don't like you. And then the mind gets upset. You wake up in the morning, you had a sound sleep, but mind is still not fresh. Impurity. So that is also a long journey, but I briefly discussed about it. In the fifth session, why we are helpless to act. I want to do good for everyone. I want to be good to myself, but the mind becomes crazy. You see, no, no, I'm not in a mood. From where? What is the cause in the origin of these thought pattern and the feeling? Eastern wisdom gives a very detailed and clear answer that we discussed briefly in the sixth session. We took a right note, aspire high, rise high, and awaken to inner peace and happiness. So now we are in the seventh session. So you can look back. We have all those series on the YouTube and also on the speaker. Now tell me how many times we complain that we do not have time to do the right thing, to live in peace and happiness. I know, Lara. We have been complaining maybe 50 times a day. Who complains? The mind. Why the mind complains? And how long we have been complaining? Days after days, weeks after weeks, years after years. We have only one complaint: I don't have time. For what? For inner peace and happiness. So, what it tells, when we don't have a time, we seem to be overactive. We seem to be always busy. We don't have even time to meditate. We say, keep the cell phone very near to me. If something happens, meditation is an inward journey. Throw the phone away. No, 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 no. Because I'm overactive and hyperactive. We have this complaint coming from the mind that has never discovered inner peace and happiness. Now ask yourself, are you busy? Go out, meet people, hug everyone because you are busy. Why not? Why not? So, because of the fear of death, we hold ourselves. Why? Because the mind wants to run outside, but there is a fear of death outside. Hence, I have to hold back myself. But when you hold back yourself, your mind becomes more crazy than ever. Do you see that? Mind becomes more and more crazy. So here comes the question. Next question to the mind that we should always ask days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months. More or less, we are doing the same thing. We have been doing the same thing prior to this incident of coronavirus. Isn't it true? Yes. Did we secure permanent peace and happiness doing the same thing again and again? We are doing the same thing again and again in the external world. Meeting people, creating a desire to have $1 million. Not like me, but like Stephen and David. Why? The mind is constantly moving outside. It is the wealth is definitely necessary, but we have projected peace, happiness, love, and the wisdom outside in the world, and the mind does not break this wrong notion that the peace and happiness is not in the world outside. It is not in a thing. It is not in an object, in any object. Look at, my son is living in California. We should be living together. That gives us peace and happiness. Nobody. Jerry's daughter living somewhere. See that? Do we recognize, continue working in the world, maybe to earn money? Let us do it. Professionally, socially, what we are doing, but we have to remove the wrong notion created by the mind that peace and happiness lies in the world outside, in the object, in the people, in the time. So how do we understand that? First thing to understand, if you like pasta, if you enjoy eating pasta that gives you happiness, ask yourself, is happiness is in pasta, or is it in your mind? Pick up, pick up. Hi, honey, you make me happy. No one can make one happy. It's a wrong notion. Can you drop that wrong notion? One, all experiences are happening in your mind. We have to ask this mind again and again that all experiences takes place in the mind. So mind is within you. So why you are seeking permanent happiness outside? First thing. Why I'm seeking? So what should I do? Should I break all the relationship? Should I stop earning the money? So Master says the solution. First discover the peace and happiness inside and allow that peace and happiness to be expressed by the mind in relationship, in work, in other duties, in activities in our life. So what is happening? What is happening? You express happiness in your relationship. The other guy, maybe the partner or brother or sister, they are upset, but you continue to express happiness. Who is benefiting? Because your goal is to express that peace and happiness which is in your mind that you have discovered through the meditation. So now there are no worries at all in day to day life and activities. And what is going to happen? The mind that is crazy and hyperactive, always busy, will calm down. Instantly will calm down. Your mind will move to the higher level of awareness. The mind will move to your higher level of awareness and it will choose the right thing at every moment in life. That is the object of meditation. The objective of meditation is not now close your eyes and focus on the breath. No, I could not focus on the breath today. I had lot of stress, lot of thoughts going on. That is not meditation. David says something.
Oh, we're talking some. Just your video is getting blurry.
Oh, videos. So the what there our master says you have two movements of the mind. The great commentator of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the Vyasa, and the Vachaspati, these are the two great masters, who says you only realize that the mind has one flow. But fundamentally, the mind is like a river and it flows in two directions. One, it flows outside. In a transactional world, obviously, I have to see that how I have to transact in the world with people, objects, and the things in peace and happiness. But if I project peace and happiness in these objects in the world outside, the life will become a mess and full of stress. So the master says another flow of this mind is inside. Mind is facing to the world, or the mind is facing to the self inside, where the true peace and happiness lie. Why we close our eyes in meditation? Because sense organ cannot find true peace and happiness. It can find only the pleasure, which mind claims it is peace and happiness, and there the problem comes. So when the mind is facing to the world, everything is good. I don't know. Mind is facing to the world to live in this world, it is good. But to discover inner peace and happiness, the mind must face to the world inside. And what a great opportunities. Very good. Very good. Two people barking. One is I am, another is. It's okay. Dog, calm down. How long? I cannot bark for a longer period, so the dog is. It's okay. It's okay. Keep cool. Keep cool. It's okay. Jerry, it's okay. Keep it. I will also stop barking after 1 hour. It is the same thing. Your mind should not be influenced by anything happening outside. It should remain in that peace and happiness. That is the journey of meditation. That is the journey of awakening. And what a great opportunity. There is a big problem due to coronavirus. We are given the order to stay home, stay safe. So, this problem, can we convert this problem into a big opportunity? To practice meditation, not once, twice, but maybe 5 times during the day. So you see that? Once we understand, what is the first point of understanding? The mind facing outside. Yes, it has to face outside. That is how I face my mind outside to talk to you. So mind must face to the world in order to in order to transact in the world of people with objects, with the things, but not projecting peace and happiness there because it is not there. I experience peace and happiness in my mind, so it is inside me. So the mind should be facing to the self to secure peace and happiness. Two options are there. Should I discover peace and happiness first within me and then allow that peace and happiness to be expressed outside in my relationship, in my business, in my activities, in my works? I can promise you the mind will stop becoming crazy. That very sense of restlessness of the mind will disappear. Why? In that state of the peace and happiness, the intellect can make a right choice at the right time. Whether you have something, whether you don't have anything, the mind will continue to be into that state of peace and happiness. Are you getting it? Am I talking nonsense or am I talking common sense? So just pick up that. My master used to say, and then we will start our journey of meditation. My master used to say, he was living in the Himalayas at 12,000 feet above the sea level, and we have a very freezing cold and the snowstorm. So I lived with him couple of times when there was a snowstorm, and he used to say, "Come on, hide inside into the cave until the snowstorm calms down. Don't fight with the snowstorm." Some people start fighting with the coronavirus. It will not work. So, whenever the mind experiences problems and the challenges in the world, this is the right time to hide inside your home. Continue the journey. Hide inside the home does not mean that your mind is reacting inside the home. What the hell the government is doing, what the hell people are doing, why they are not allowing me to go out. Ask yourself why you want to go out. Can you do the things without going out? Yes, you can do the things. That conditioning of the mind will be broken. And once that conditioning breaks up, then we realize, yes, there is a possibility that we can discover peace and happiness. So the series that is continuing, if you start uh, watching and understanding from series 1 to this series, I think this is seventh. Yes, this is the seventh. So let us see, with reference to what we discussed today, let us do the practice. So I will invoke all these what we have discussed in terms of principles. Close your eyes. The stage 1, we have 2 steps. So why I divided the entire meditation? It cannot be divided, but I divided for the sake of intellectual understanding. Why? So that your mind remembers. But why? Or maybe you will continue the journey to change yourself. So eyes, stage 1, close your eyes and find out the best position of the body. Best position means what is right and good for the body. That is what I discussed. So first you invoke the knowledge, what is right and good for the body, and then you adopt a position. So the natural result is which is comfortable, which is free from unease. That is what. Then we settle that body into a comfortable position by a step. Why we want to settle? In order for the mind not to rush outside and remain busy even during the practice. Our mind sometimes remains busy even during the practice. That is the mind facing outside. So being comfortable will play an important role. So move the mind on the neck joint. Feel the presence of the mind at the neck joint. This is one way of saying, or feel the sensation. The mind knows, it has a knowledge that it is comfortable, and then it experiences the sense of steadiness. The body cannot move by itself. It is the mind moves the body. Can we raise our awareness and understanding? The body cannot move by itself. And when the body moves, you have already provided an opportunity for the mind to move outside, and it will cause. Then what mind will release? Mind will release the same activities of being crazy, obsessed. And when the mind is outside, we cannot think in an organized and clear way. So move the mind on the shoulder joints. Be there. Feel the sensation. Being comfortable. And steadiness. Move the mind on the hip joint. If you move the mind slowly in the very first step, you are extra careful in the first 2 steps, the entire journey becomes beautiful. And we don't have time, I'm comfortable, go ahead. It will not work. Because you started with the mind that is facing outside, wants to be crazy, then what will happen in the end? Move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes, looking into all the joints, feeling the sensation, being comfortable, and experience a sense of steadiness. Make sure, where is the principle? If the body moves, it is the mind that has moved. Where the mind has moved, it wants to move outside. So once that knowledge is clear in your head, what will happen in that higher level of awareness? The mind may have a thought to move the body, but the mind will not see that. Second step in the first stage is being carefree. I was giving a lesson in the morning, and I said, you see, standing across a road watching the traffic. We 100% know that we are different from the traffic. One. Second, we are at a distance from the traffic. The traffic do not touch us. So there are two parts of the mind. One is the deeper, that always keeps standing and watching, and the other part is known as the surface mind, that keeps the thought going and moving from the past, moving into the future. Overactive mind, hyperactive mind, awfully busy mind. So when I say standing across a road watching the traffic, it is two are the same mind. One is deeper, other is surface mind. So what I have to do? I have to do nothing. I simply recognize and become aware. Let any thought of good and the craziness enters into my mind. I'm different from it. I'm not these thoughts. You see in the stage one how deeply you settle. Otherwise, we will not recognize the mind is facing outside or inside. Our journey is to help the mind to face inside and to discover inner peace and happiness. Now, in the stage two, which I say purify the mind and balance it. We have been continuing these two steps and we will add the third step also. Why to purify? Even we are settled. Now, the past impression, which is not known to the mind, it will create an effect through the thoughts, feeling, and the sensations in the mind. We need to purify so that we can enter deeply. That is why what we did, what we have been doing from the session one, keep it clear. We are doing quick and short breath from the chest, keeping our focus deep inside the forehead. So look deep inside the forehead at any point in the space and start breathing quick and short breath from the chest through both the nostrils. Continue, do not stop in the middle. and stop this. We more or less we did for 2 minutes. You see, when you continue doing the practices as we have started this journey, you can say almost 3 weeks before. So if you are continuing the practice, what is going to happen? The 2 or 3 minutes of doing this kind of a breathing is not a big deal. But that is going to help you a great deal. So we should not become habitual in meditation. So we made the brain totally fresh, more sensations in that state. Now we'll continue doing the 10 humming sounds. So take a deep breath first into the belly, then into the chest, up to the throat, and lips together, breathing through the nose, focus inside the head. While breathing out, make the humming sound. What is the point of understanding that every time you inhale, it is always deep, silent, and slow? It should take long time, but deep, silent, and slow. And while breathing out, you make the humming sound louder, longer, and the deeper to influence the nerves, the brain, and the mind. Continue. Continue the journey of humming. We are into the stage 2. Purify the mind and balance the energy. Two things we are doing it. So that the mind can move within easily. Continue. We are moving the mind within. That's why we are doing this humming sound. Continue. Now stop this humming sound. So let me add one more step that I think I did it last time also. So in the stage 2, what is the stage 2? Purifying the mind, helping the prana to rise above. When the prana goes up, it leaves the anxiety, stress, duality, and a conflict. I'll explain you in the following sessions how. After doing these two steps, we settle the mind, move the mind on the head and the neck, move the mind on the head and the neck, just be there and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. You see, when the mind is purified a bit, when the prana is moving up, and the mind is facing inside, there is a natural experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. More or less, that happens in deep sleep, and it leads to a variety of experiences, maybe tingling, numbness, vision and the colors. Let it happen. Move the mind on the right arm. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the left arm. Move the mind on the left arm. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the chest. You see, we are educating the mind to move within. So we are using the major parts of the body. So when I say move the mind on the rib cage, is the mind facing outside in the world or to the body? So it has changed the direction. So we keep the mind, we ask the mind to stay there, feel the presence. So the moment it stays a little bit longer, our experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness is there where? In the mind. That is what we learned today. All experiences happens in the mind. All experiences of object, people, of the world still happens in the mind. And without the world, can we experience? Understand that point. If we bring those experiences without any object, at present it is the body. What is going to happen? The mind is going to move within. We understand every step, every principle. It is a conscious journey. Meditation must be a conscious journey. What it means? Both the student and teacher walking the path properly, consciously. No hallucination, no imagination. Move the mind on the right leg. Be there. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind inside the left leg. Where you are, I mean to say, where the mind is, on the left leg. Wonderful, be there. So your presence invokes the experience of sensation, relaxation, stillness. But why? Simply moving the mind, that gives me that experience. Why? We will cover those things in our following sessions. So move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes. And experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Second stage is over. In the state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness, now we give a challenge, an opportunity to the mind. If the mind can move in its own space, what is this stuff? Our master says, Bhutakasha means what? There is a physical space. And more or less we know it is infinite. So the one outermost is the physical space. Second level, it is a mental space that is also infinite. And the third space is the space where the real self dwells. The moment we enter into that space, we always live in meditation. You see, you get a new concept. So, how to help the mind to move into the mental space? Just make your breath a little deeper. It is so easy to do it. So, now move the mind with the breath. Not very deep, silent, slow. Why we do that deep breathing? Because the mind maintains its awareness and attention, not very deep. No competition is there. And now see, the moment you move, you in breathe in, move the mind inside the right arm into the space or darkness or blankness. The moment the breath is coming out, move the mind from the fingertips to the shoulder. When the breath goes in, the mind moves from the shoulder to the fingertips. Why? Why these extremities? How you work and act in the world through these motor organs? The hands and the feet are always active. Even if you are not doing anything, still it is active because of the past impression that is known as hyperactive, overactive, fully busy. So, what we are asking the mind to realize that space within, see that. At every step, we understand the process, the principle, and that will help you a great deal. Now move the mind inside the left arm in the same way. What is the same way? You are already breathing little, deep, silent, and slow. And as you inhale, the breath is going into the lungs. That is very clear. But consciously move the mind inside the left arm from the shoulder to the fingertips when the breath is going in, and move it from the fingertips to the shoulder when the breath is coming out. Am I saying something crazy? No. We are asking the mind to explore the mental space. In yoga, we say it is Chittakasha. The physical space is known as Bhutakasha. Bhut, Akash. Akash means space. Bhut means matter, material. Chitta, mental. Akasha, space. Because if you cannot experience and realize the Chittakasha, you cannot enter deeper. Simple thing. Meditation is a play and a fun, my friends. And now move the mind and the inside the right leg from the right side of the waist to the toes when the breath starts going in, and when the breath starts coming out, move the mind from the toes of the right foot in the space inside the right leg until the right side of the waist. You stroll inside your house, back and forth. Why? Because of the space. If there is no space, can you do it? That's what we are doing. When this mind discovers infinite space, what is that? That is what the Buddha says, emptiness. So we are progressing into mindfulness step by step in these sessions. And now move the mind inside the left leg. With every deep breath, deep silent, slow breath going in, and the mind starts. So we are giving mind a departure point when the breath goes in or when the breath comes out. And we have fixed the space of the mind. So here is, you can stroll inside the left leg. So what is happening? What exactly we want to accomplish? We are asking the mind why you are crazy, created a false notion that the peace and happiness is outside. Just stay there in that space which you already have, which is always present. That is going to change the mind. This is what we are doing. You see, every session I tweak something by invoking a principle so that we can progress into the journey of mindfulness. One, I tweak so that no practice become a habitual practice. Meditation is not a habit. Remember, and now moving the mind on the entire body with a deep, silent, and slow breath. You may undergo a variety of experiences. A sense of bodilessness may be there. So when the breath goes in, the mind moves from the top of the head to the toes. And when the breath comes out, the mind moves from the toes to the top of the head. So, what happens? More or less, the principle is the same, but expression and explanation in Hatha Yoga, that is an offshoot of Tantra, is different. Chale vate chalam chittam nishchale nishchalam bhavit yogi sthanuttamapanoti tatu vayum nirodhait. So in Hatha Yoga, we say mind can be regulated by the regulation of the breath, and the breath can be regulated by the regulation of the mind. And what we are doing here, we are doing both. We're asking the mind to see inside the space inside the body or move into the space, and we are also doing the deep silent slow breathing. See that. You get some idea how I pick up these steps. And leave this deep silent slow breath. Now you are almost in a state of doing nothing, the stage 4. So what we do in the stage 4, we actually do nothing. But the mind always knows the language of that we are doing something. So I say, look at the breath that is going in and out. Three-pointed awareness of the breath is a common point in for the last 6 sessions. So, knowing the breath that is going in and out, no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath, and feeling the sensation of the breath. When it goes in, it strikes the nose. When it comes out, strikes the nose. And doing nothing. Still, I emphasize doing nothing. Live into that state. Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Feel the sensation there and the changes. Move the mind on the left hand. Feel the changes. Open your eyes slowly. Know your experiences. What do you feel, Lara?
There I am. um, I feel good. You know, one of the things that I'm noticing and that I need to do for myself is that I probably need to move in the morning before we do this because it's really hard for me. My body still is like, my body needs to move first, I think, so I can settle a little bit deeper. It's probably one of the biggest things that I noticed. And also came really apparent to me because I've been talking about it a lot this week and kind of studying it this week is the thought of the capacity to hold complexity and the duality of what's going on and being able to hold both sides of it together.
Pick up simple principle. The mind, drop the wrong notion of the mind that body moves by itself. It is the mind that moves the body. Consciously, habitually, unconsciously, or based on the past impression. So, according to Eastern wisdom, what is the wrong notion? My body moves. Drop this. Take care of the mind. Understand it. How dare the body can move if the mind does not allow it? So keep that concept and the principle in the mind. Maintain awareness in the morning, and then with that awareness, start looking at the body. Do the last step, just awareness of the breath, and see, you will realize how the mind is moving the body due to the past impression. How are you, Stephen?
I'm very good, thank you. Very enjoyable. I find that when we focus on when we start with the deep breathing, it helps stop all that noise that takes place. And if you don't focus on that breath, you know that your mind wandered. So it immediately gets you back to it. Um, then when you go to the humming part, it continues the concentration. And for me, I feel an enormous amount of vibration on the crown
Wonderful.
when completed, and then just the focus. And I've done this meditation with you numerous times, and I'm feeling more of the inner sensations. So when we're focused on the inner parts of the watching the flow of the breath going inside the arms, I feeling the energy going up and down my arms to my fingertips, and then the same thing as we complete it. So my body knows, so it leaves me in complete relaxation.
Ah,
So and then yep. And now I'm trying to, what I've found successful is taking what's happening to me in meditation and becoming that same awareness in every day. So I don't
wonderful.
have to be in meditation for it. So it's great. I appreciate it.
It's a great, clear understanding the way you understand. You see, when your mind says, I experience inside, Where is the mind? It is already inside.
Mhm.
You see, Lara, are you picking up? The mind, when I say I'm experiencing inside the crown of the head. So we are not deeply interested what is happening in the brain, but we are only interested is the mind living within through that experience. That is the subject matter of the science, that what happens in the brain, the physiological relaxation, the oxygen concentration increases, carbon dioxide concentration goes down, and that's why we feel the freshness. No, we are not interested. We are only interested, do I experience something inside my body? And that is what the Stephen experienced throughout the journey. But that is only the first step. We have to find our true nature. So, how are you, Jerry?
Hi.
Lara,
Wonderful.
keep smiling. Your smile
Wonderful.
is gone.
Lara. Lara, smile. um, I noticed the last stage was it felt almost like a internal bath or an internal cleansing of the
Very good.
breath down the arms and the legs, and just wonderful. Really wonderful. Thank you.
It's a beautiful experience. How about you, David?
Can you
My
hear me okay?
yes.
So very similar to what Stephen experienced, I think, and the only word that comes to mind to describe it was like really deep bliss. And by the time we got to the fourth stage, it was kind of like what Girish was saying. I had this real inner peace behind my forehead that I'd never felt before.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was really, really fabulous. And I will say, every session now I'm finding it's not incremental, it's exponentially deeper and deeper for me and really going inside. So thank you.
Oh, wonderful, David.
Lots of stories, and one more thing to Stephen's point, lots of internal energy on the limbs and the inner body through that breathing exercise. Tons of energy up and down. Radiating.
What a beautiful experience, and also an explanation. So every session I'm trying to make it little progressive and with different principles, so that you can really understand what exactly is the process, the method of meditation. So how are you, Ashok? How are you, Sangeeta? Yeah, Ashok.
सर बहुत
हाँ, बोलो बोलो
हाँ
बोलो
सर
संगीता.
बहुत अच्छा था और
Very good.
एकदम शांत हो गया बिल्कुल
Very good. Very good. And Ashok?
Sir, it was relaxing, but I am feeling some problem in my nose. It is blocked. That's why I could not proceed further. So I will take care of that. That is awesome.
Yes, nose is responsible for our peace and happiness.
No, no, but
You see, it is the same thing what Lara was saying. The mind always creates the wrong notion, and it lives with the wrong notion. Then it has a. So we have to do